here's why most insurance agents make no money even when they write business. I'm going to break it down for you on the whiteboard right here. So let's say that you write $30,000 in annual premium in 1 month. All right? Now, typically, it's going to take you about 50 policies to hit that because the average insurance policy is about $600. So we got $600 times 50 policies equals that 30K in AP, right? So to write 50 policies, how many leads do we need? Now, a highly skilled insurance agent is going to close about 1 in 10 on every lead that they have. So we got 10% closing rate. So in order to write 50 policies, we need 500 leads. 500 leads. Obviously, we're doing 10% of 500 is 50 times 600, 30K. Pretty simple right there. Now the question is, how are you going to get those leads? You know, that's the number one question when you're an insurance agent. How are you going to get your leads? What's your lead source? Now, for decades on decades, the number one lead source for the insurance industry has been direct mail. Okay? So we're going to assume that, you know, you follow suit with the majority of insurance agents out there and you buy 500 direct mail leads. Now, you know, if you went back 5, even 10 years, you're looking at under $20 for a direct mail lead, maybe under 30. Now, recently, those costs have skyrocketed. The return rate on direct mail leads have gone so low, you're now going to be expecting to pay about $40 on average for a direct mail lead. So we need 500 leads. They cost $40 a piece. 500 times 40 is 20 grand. Okay? So you've already spent, of this 30K in AP that you wrote, you spent 20 grand just on leads. Just on leads. Okay? So I'm going to get real simple with this math right here. 30K minus 20K, what's that? We got 10K left over. Okay? So we have 10K, right? We had 30, we wrote 30,000 in annual premium, we spent 20 grand on leads, we're left with 10. But wait, we haven't accounted for chargebacks. Even if you write the best business out there, you're still going to get them. So let's say you have a 80% retention rate, only 20% of your business charges back. 80% of 30K is 24K. So now we can cross this 10 grand out because that's completely irrelevant. We have 24 grand. All right, but we've spent 20 on leads. So we're left with 4. So you wrote 30 grand, 4 grand. You wrote 30 grand, you thought you made 30K, but you spent 20 on leads, and you thought you made 10, right? But no, you actually made 4 after chargebacks. So you have 4 grand. Okay, well that's great, but we forgot to account for one thing. If you're running face-to-face in the field, you still have other costs that are associated with that, right? Like for example, gas. So you have 4 grand after chargebacks and leads, but you're running face-to-face. Now, let's say that before you got into this business, you knew you were going to run face-to-face. You went out and bought yourself a brand new Prius because you wanted something that was good on gas. A Prius is going to get about 50 miles to the gallon. Now, when I was running face-to-face, I drove about 250 miles a day. 250 miles a day. Okay, so that's driving from my hometown to the area I'm going to work, driving around the area that I work, you know, door knocking, running appointments, whatever, right? And then driving back. So we got 250 miles per day. 50 miles to the gallon on a Prius. So you're going to be using about 5 gallons a day of gas. 5 gallons a day. Average cost of gas is about $4.84 in the US right now. If you're in California, you're probably saying that that sounds low. All I have to say to that is I'm sorry. So 5 gallons a day at $4.84. I already did the math. It's about $500 a month. Granted, this is if you have a Prius. Okay, so you're spending $500 a month for a Prius on gas. Now let's say you still have a car that's decent on gas mileage, but it's not Prius good. Let's say you have the most common car in America, Honda Accord, gets 30 miles to the gallon, so you're spending $800 a month. And this is with a Honda Accord. This is not a big car by any means. $500 a month with a Prius, $800 a month with a Accord. Now let's say you drive an SUV like a Toyota Highlander. In this example, a Toyota Highlander gets about 21 miles to the gallon, average between city and highway. Most of the miles you're going to be driving are highway. 21 miles to the gallon. You're going to be spending about $1,150 a month just on gas with a Highlander. All right, so depending on what you drive, you can cut out that $4,000, take $500 off, take $800 off, or take $1,150 off. So now you're left with sub $4,000, depending on which car you drive, maybe even sub $3,000. And we still haven't even accounted for the most sneaky cost for insurance agents, which is food. Now, whenever you're running face-to-face, what you'll typically find is that you're out all day. You get up early, you drive to your area, you're driving around all day trying to sell policies. You drive back home, and by the time you get home, it's dark and you're ready to go to sleep. You haven't cooked a lunch, for the next day. You don't have time for any of that. So I found myself, whenever I ran face-to-face, buying a lot of fast food. And not only is this costly on your wallet, but it's costly on your health. And you want to be sharp between the eyes when you're driving around talking to people all day. But, if you eat out maybe once a day, working 5 days a week, that's an extra $250 a month that you are now spending on food. And this is assuming fast food prices. If you're trying to be healthy and eating out, this number is going to be higher. Okay. So now our $4,000 has now, grab this paper towel. Our $4,000 has now gone down under $3,000. We'll say that you're driving an SUV. And we've also got to take away food. So we got 0 here, 0 here. This is 6. This is 3. This is 2. Haha. There we go. So you're now left with $2,600 from $30,000 after you take out food and gas. Now let's say, you also have maintenance on your car. We're not even going to account for that here because you're already left with $2,600. You can't even afford to fix your car at this point. E&O insurance, taxes. What if you're running the leads where you have to give out a gift card every time you talk to somebody? It gets expensive, right? So this is how you make $2,600 when you write 30. Makes no sense. This isn't profitable. You get a few more chargebacks than 20% and you're done. You're out of the business. This makes good agents fall out and it makes bad agents go broke. So what is the solution? How can you make 10 times more with writing the same amount of business? Well, I'm going to show you right here. So let's take that same 30K in AP, right up here, 30K in AP. Now, let's take the same $600 per policy. You need 50 policies, 500 leads. This time, we're going to go in a different direction with the leads. So instead of going direct mail, we're going to get 500 self-generated Facebook leads. Okay? Now, depending on the amount of states that you're running or where you're licensed, you can expect to get these for about $4 a piece. $4 a lead, down from 40, right? That's huge. $4 a lead, okay? 500 times 4, this one's easy, it is $2,000. Same chargeback percentage, we're left with 24. 24 minus 2 is 22. $22,000. Okay, that's what we're left over with. $22,000 versus $2,600. Here's the thing. With this, just from cutting our lead cost, we could still run face-to-face and make so much more, but we could cut our costs even more. We can take out food, we can take out gas, we can take out all the windshield time and spend that calling people. And if we have enough leads coming in and we're setting enough appointments, we can talk to somebody every single 15 minutes and just close all day long. So let's say we're not going to run the field this time. We're going to sit at home or wherever you want. You could be sitting on a beach in Florida and do all of these appointments just over the phone. We're going to do telesales. So, for our CRM, we're going to be spending about $80 a month. Okay? $80 a month. I know. Real pricey. So 22 grand minus $80 a month. You got 21,920. That is our bottom line. That is pure profit right there. So you can either make $2,600 in our first example with more work, probably more time in the field, and a lot more headache, or you can make $21,920. I don't know about you, but I can tell you which one I'm picking. All right, so now that we've established that the most ideal, the most efficient, the most profitable way to do this business is to self-generate your own leads and do telesales on those leads. That's the most ideal way. Unfortunately, not every situation is ideal, obviously, right? Here's the thing. Let's say you went out and bought thousands of dollars worth of direct mail leads and you're still waiting for them to come back, and you're just now seeing this video. You're already, your bank account is empty. You can't go out and start generating your own leads. You got to run what you got. So here we're going to give you 6 ways to cut your costs and maximize every single lead if you're running direct mail face-to-face. And then we're also going to give you 6 ways that you can do that with telesales. So I'm going to start with cutting your costs face-to-face because with a ton of experience running direct mail face-to-face, we got some tips and tricks for you. So the first thing that I'm going to cover is preset appointments. This is critical when you are running face-to-face. Call in advance. Door knocking is super expensive because the way that you need to view a lead is not only what you pay for it, it's what you pay to reach it. It's what you pay to talk to them. If I'm driving out to somebody's house who lives 100 miles away from me, the cost of the lead is not $40. It's $40 plus whatever it took me to get to them. Okay? So calling ahead, if you already are going out to an area and you have preset people to see, you're not going to be spending as much time driving around. You're going to be spending more time talking to people and more time closing. So preset appointments is number 1. Number 2 is meal prep. Remember how I was talking about the most sneaky expense that comes up on insurance agents? It is food. Meal prep. Good for your body, good for your wallet. What I recommend you to do is, let's say that you're going to be running Monday through Saturday, just for example, so it's easy. So on Sunday night, I would pre-make meals. I mean, you can literally just do lunch. If you want to grab breakfast on the way or cook breakfast at home, whatever you want to do. Pre-make lunch for 3 days. So we got Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. On Sunday, I'm cooking for all 3 of those days. On Wednesday night, I'm cooking for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I only have to cook 2 times a week, not 6. So much easier, saves me a ton of time. I wouldn't recommend pre-making your meals more than 3 days in advance unless you're freezing them. Freezing does take away the taste, so that's why I do break it up 2 times a week. So meal prep is number 2. This is going to save you a lot of money. This is a big one right here. It's also just going to make you healthier overall, which you're going to feel better, you're going to sell better, you're going to make more. Number 3 is to use a routing software. Use a routing software. And so this is especially critical when you're door knocking because we're not in the 1980s or 1990s or shoot, I don't even know when they didn't have GPSs. We've had those for quite a while, but basically there's no reason to grab a stack of leads, drive out to your area, and then just look at different addresses and try to drive to them. Makes no sense. So what you're going to want to do is add all of your leads, all of the names and all of the addresses into what is called a routing software. And it's going to map out the most efficient way for you to hit all of those doors. So you're going to save gas and save time. A really good routing software that I've used in the past is called Route For Me. It actually lets you take a photo if you're getting printouts of your direct mail leads and just snap them and it'll automatically upload them, so you can do that really quick and efficiently. So Route For Me is a big tool to use. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but check them out in the App Store. Number 4 is to ask for referrals. This is the best lead source that you could possibly get. Facebook leads are great, but they don't hold a candle to referrals. The reason why is whenever somebody gives you a referral, they are putting their stamp of approval on you as an insurance agent. Their friends, their family trust them and are therefore going to take their advice. So a key distinction here with a referral is not, hey, Billy Bob down the street, I think he might need insurance. That's not a referral. Or, yeah, I think you should talk to my brother, and then you just leave. That's not a referral. A referral is a name and a point of contact so that you can sell them. I don't care if they, tell you, I got 5 people I need you to talk to. If they don't give you a name or a number, you didn't get a referral. It doesn't matter. So, asking for referrals, this is a good way to turn 1 lead into 3. Okay? You're going to be tripling each lead. If every lead that you get, even if you don't sell them, if you're able to get 2 or 3 referrals out of it, you are on the right track. Number 5 is to work neighbors and take advantage of no leads. Okay? Now, the neighbors, I'm going to touch on that first, and then I'm going to touch on no leads, because neighbors is a little bit easier to explain and less broad. But, when you're going out and door knocking, let's say you see somebody sitting out on their front porch, go talk to them. Hey, I was looking for Miss Jones, but it doesn't look like she's home. She had sent in a card about the final expense program here in, God knows where. You have 5 minutes? Has anyone talked to you about this kind of stuff? Just go straight into your pitch, but relate it back to them. And you can knock on the neighbors' doors. A good thing to do if you're going to do this is carrying around either gift cards or lottery tickets, because it's super easy to get into a house when you have a lead that has someone's handwriting on it. But if they're the neighbor, you might want a little bit extra, kind of like a bribe to get in. Just like a good way to gain entry into the home is to have gift cards or lottery tickets. So that is the neighbors side of it. No leads. This is probably the most broad thing that you could possibly get. A no lead is just anybody that you can talk to who did not send in a lead. That's simple. So an example of a no lead, when I was running face-to-face, I knocked on a door from a lead that was from like 2018. Granted, this was 2021, or maybe it was 2017. 4 or 5 years old, the lead was. So I knock on the door, talk to him. Hey, I'm looking for Margaret, whatever her name was. I think that actually was her name. And it was an apartment complex. So turnover is super high there. Margaret didn't live there. I don't even know if she was still living. But I talked to a lady who was about in her 20s, still went into the pitch, still just told her what it was about. And she happened to want to buy life insurance on not only herself, but also her husband, who was like maybe 6 or 7 years older than me. Now, I'm 20. I'm not looking into buying life insurance anytime soon, but both of them had kids. And had I not even asked, I wouldn't have gotten that policy. But most of the time, when you're in the grind of running final expense, you don't think to talk to younger people, but a lot of them are still interested. So that is an example of no leads. No leads could be someone you meet at a wedding, someone you meet at the grocery store, somebody that, rear ends you in traffic. Hey, that sucks what happened here, but, I sell final expense, whatever, right? Just tell everybody that you do what you do and you will find more business. So that is number 5. Number 6, the best way to cut costs and save money when you are running face-to-face with direct mail is to not run face-to-face. Number 6 is to just do telesales. Stop being afraid of the phone. You can sell just as good with your voice. You just have to practice. That's it. The costs that it takes to do face-to-face are so high, especially nowadays with gas. Depending on where you live, it could absolutely make no sense. In some areas of the country, telesales is still better, but you can make it work. In others, there's just no reason. So switch over to doing telesales. We can help you do this. We have a whole CRM set up to coach you through all the steps and help you have a seamless transition. But definitely look into doing telesales if you are running direct mail leads face-to-face. So now this next part here, I'm going to talk about if you are buying direct mail leads but are already have already transitioned over to doing telesales. Here are 6 ways that you can cut costs and maximize every single lead. All right, so number 1 here we have looking for cross-selling opportunities. Okay, and what you'll realize whenever you start talking to the demographic that we sell to for a while is that they don't only need one thing, right? A lot of times, people will wait until they're in their mid-60s to get insurance. What do they also qualify for when they're in their mid-60s? If you're 65, you qualify for Medicare. Even some people younger, if they have Medicaid or have some kind of disability, right? So look for cross-sell opportunities. That's Medicare. If you run into a house that has some money, that's an annuity opportunity. Other health products like hospital indemnity, cancer plans, all kinds of stuff, right? And typically you want to lead with what they sent the actual lead in for. But if you are doing your due diligence, asking good questions, and going through a survey, you're going to find a lot of cross-selling opportunities. And this is just going to increase the amount of money that you can get per lead that you buy. And that's what we're trying to do. Number 2 is to ask about other family members, okay? Most people do not live alone. That is a fact. Most people do not live alone. Most people live with other people in the household. So when you go and talk to Miss Jones, ask about her husband. Oh, does your spouse already have insurance, or were you looking to get him covered as well? Do your grandkids already have coverage? Because there's some super low rates that they could lock in on a children's whole life policy, and you could pay like $20 a month for the rest of their life for $50,000 in coverage. It's an easy sell, okay? So number 2 is to ask about family members. Life insurance is a very emotional purchase, and oftentimes people are willing to make that purchase on other members of their family. Okay? On the first policy that I ever sold, the only lead that was sent in was for the husband, but he got insurance on himself, his wife, and his 4-year-old granddaughter. Yes, 4-year-old granddaughter. Ask about other family members. Number 3 is to do your due diligence when checking on other policies that they have. So a lot of times, you'll go into a house and somebody is looking at adding on coverage. And a mistake that a lot of insurance agents make is they'll go straight into talking about adding on coverage. Now, typically you want to go into what they're looking for and then loop back to what they already have. So, let's say you get them set up with a policy. Sometimes people are a little bit touchy about talking about what they have currently. So policies that they, already are paying on. But you're going to want to ask about these because a lot of times there's going to be replacement opportunities. Let's say somebody has 4 $5,000 policies and they're looking to add on $5,000 more. Why wouldn't I just, replace all the other ones and get them a 20 if it makes sense? And you're always going to want to check to see if it makes sense, because if it doesn't, don't replace it, because your name is your brand and your honesty is your reputation. So you don't want to screw with that, right? But checking on other policies, you're going to find a lot of replacement opportunities. So look for replacements. Is number 3. Number 4. Number 4 is to add riders onto your policies. This is accidental death rider, grandchild rider, any other rider that you can think of, to boost the premium and add more value. So this is going to boost premium and add value. I've gone into houses. This is not a specific example with a rider, but as far as, V is really screwed up. As far as people viewing their insurance policy as more valuable, I've gone into houses where somebody has, I think it's a Lincoln Heritage policy, where they had a free funeral planning guide. That's it. Their agent gave them a funeral planning guide along with their insurance policy, and they were scared to replace it for a cheaper policy because they thought they would lose the discounts they were going to get at the funeral home. Yes. Adding riders, if you die, you're going to get double. Your family's going to get double if you die in a car accident or any kind of accident like that. Your policy is also going to give your grandkids coverage as well. That's value. That's less replaceable. Number 5 is to make sure that you are consistently following up. You are consistently following up and not leaving leads in the dust. Okay? And what I mean by this is 2 things. 1, if you call a lead 5 times and they don't answer, the lead is not dead. Keep the lead, put it in your pipeline, and nurture it over time. It usually takes 5 to 12 contacts, not calls, before you sell somebody. So if you go and give somebody a quote, and they don't buy on the first time, it can be very frustrating. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to buy. A lot of people will, BS you and tell you that they actually are interested, but there are a good percentage of the population who actually are and are just trying to do their due diligence. So when you give them a quote, don't just throw the lead away if they don't buy on the first time. Make sure to follow up with them and have a system for following up, as well as a system for contacting and nurturing leads that you are not able to get on the phone. And this is all stuff that we can offer within our CRM. Link down below if you want to learn more about that. But number 5 is to make sure that you are following up not only with prospects that you have given a quote, but with leads that you have paid for that you cannot get in contact with. There's going to be times where you call a lead, let's say you call them 21 times in June, and then you call them 2 times in July and they pick up on the second ring. Just depends. Some people shut their phone off for months. Some people, God knows what they got going on, right? And number 6 is to use simpler applications. This is especially critical for over the phone because the more steps that you have for somebody to go through, the more chances that they have to fall off. So by using simpler applications, I don't mean to, if the company makes so much sense for somebody because it's by far the cheapest rate that they can get, go with it. But if it's a $2 or $3 difference or something super minor, go with the simpler application. The client's going to get less frustrated, you're going to get less frustrated, and you're going to close more deals. Carriers that offer voice signature are always a good option. Some people will struggle with doing the email signature and going back and forth with that. So if you can just do something quick over the phone, they say, yes, this is, Julian, yes, I certify that, right? That's quick, that's easy, and causes for less frustration and more policies written. So that's going to wrap up everything for the video. We touched on why insurance agents make no money even when they write business, as well as how you can make 10 times more simply by switching over to Telesales and doing your own lead gen. And then we also touched on 6 ways for you to cut your cost if you're running direct mail leads face-to-face, and then 6 more ways on how to do that if you're running telesales. So be sure to click the like button if you found value in this video, click subscribe to get more content like this from us, and comment down below what you want to see next. We'll see you in the next one.